Hey, what's up? My name is Craig Stickland, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
Before we talk about the music, tell me, how you kind of invested, the money that came for your music career. You invested it into your mobile home, which became like your road warrior for every tour. That's where we're here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I signed with a label, I knew that I needed to reinvest the money into something that was going to last. Yeah. So I built this solar paneled Sprinter van, which we're standing in front of right now.
How much has this kind of improved the way that you tour, especially because it's less money you have to consider as far as like flights, as far as like hotel rooms and stuff like that. So I'm sure that gives you more opportunity to travel.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that when you're trying to break as an artist, the most important thing is just to stay out on the road. And so I didn't want to go bankrupt paying for hotels and flights, as you said. So yeah, I just wanted to invest in something that I knew that was going to get me around America and North America. And so far I've done 4 tours in this thing.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick. So, coming in to create this van, how did you know how to go about it? I'm sure there was tons of research. How long did it take you to kind of create it?
Yeah, so I came up with the idea from watching YouTube videos, and then sure enough, I learned everything I needed to know from YouTube.
Right.
So there's so many online tutorials of how to build a van online, and I just spent about 3 months researching how to do it.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
That's so sick. So moving forward to your music, you've been touring. You kind of lived in here while you were recording the upcoming Sophomore album. Did that kind of have any inspiration with the way you were writing your music?
Yeah, I think so. I lived in this van for almost 2 years. And I had an apartment, but I Airbnb'd it. Don't tell my landlord. Slumlording it. But I was parked right outside of the studio and just working away every day, sleeping in the van out front. And a lot of the songs were either started or finished or conceptualized while I was touring, living under the van. So it kind of made sense to park it out front and just live that existence while I was making the record as well.
That's so sick. Now, as you went in to create this record, it's your sophomore album. Prior to this one, you've been touring nonstop, whether it's for you or for other artists. So how did these tours kind of inspire the way that you create your music now, especially for the thinking about the live show?
Well, I think I was lucky because I think we talked about this earlier, but I was touring with Alessia Cara as her guitar player and was opening up for her as well. And we were lucky enough to tour with Coldplay, which was crazy. So, I mean, they have one of the most dynamic live shows I've ever seen. Right. So when I was in the studio trying to make my record, I'm not only thinking, okay, what's going to translate on record, like what's going to translate live, what's going to capture people emotionally, what's going to get me to that level. So, in this day and age, live touring is where everyone finds themselves. So I think my experience touring really shaped the way I made the record, man. Yeah.
So when you came in to record this record, did Julian Casablanca hit you up finally and say, let's start writing together?
Dude, he did it. I'm waiting on that call. Julian, if you're out there, I'm still waiting on a call, man.
Like, I know you're busy with stuff, and I know the Strokes are being active this year, but we got to do this collaboration. I know that's something you want to work with.
Yeah, I've got the jacket on. I'm ready for you, man. Dude, he's an amazing writer. I love his writing style and such a sick man. The Strokes are incredible, man.
So what was the writing style for you this time around? You had the same team from your first record come and help you out with this record?
No, it was actually a different team. Okay. So basically, made the first record when I was living in Toronto and over a long period of time. And when it came to make the second record, I really was trying to find the right sound. I really wanted to find my own sound. And so I tried working with a bunch of different producers and ultimately wasn't really getting the sound that I was looking for. And so I talked it over with my management and the team. We're like, dude, you should just make this yourself. Like, a lot of the demos that you've made are the best versions of these songs. So I ended up finding a couple of close friends of mine, a guy named Cat Lewis and a guy named Greyhawk, and we just locked ourselves in the studio. And sometimes we made 5 or 6 versions of the same song, but kind of stemming from the original root of the demo and really, really trying to keep the song as authentic as possible. And when I tour live, I've sometimes play with a band, but sometimes I tour with just me and a loop pedal. Right. And that's what had been working. So I tried to stay as close as possible to those arrangements and just put them on record with a few embellishments, but like we said before, to really capture that live essence and sound.
Right. Now, as far as like challenging yourself this time around, because you've had so much experience since the first record, how do you feel you kind of challenge the way that either you write or you create your music, or maybe a different guitar riff that you tried, or even your vocals? Like, how did you feel you challenge yourself?
Well, I feel like it's the concept of just never settling.
Yeah.
And there were times where we had some, not heated, but intense conversations because we'd been working on a song for months.
Right.
And we'd have to sit down and be like, dude, is this good enough? You know, like, is this the right version of the song?
Right.
And I remember having those conversations, like, after we'd been working for so long on a song. It's like, nah, man, let's start from scratch on this whole production.
Right.
And so I think it was just everyone involved in the process just really pushing each other and just not settling and making sure that whatever we delivered as the final product was the absolute best that it could be.
What was it about those specific songs that you kind of scratched and reimagined or recreated? Like, what was it about them that you had to put them on this record?
Well, I think that there's some songs that have always resonated with me. Like, for this record, I probably wrote, hundreds of songs, for sure. But there was those collection of maybe 20 that really resonated, and then I knew that I wanted to get down on record.
Right.
There's a few that didn't make the cut, and that will probably make it to a later record, just because we didn't get the production right or the feeling of it right. But what we did go back on, to answer that question, was a lot of tempo, a lot of feel. Like, when you have a song acoustic, you can produce it hundreds, thousands of different ways, right? You can change tempos around, you can change the key, you can do all these different things. So that's really what we were doing, man. We were just experimenting with key, we were experimenting with tempo, with groove, and sometimes we would go down this path for so long, and you get stuck in it. You kind of like demoitis, like you get attached to that production version, and then when you take a step back and you reapproach it, you're like, man, this isn't the right vibe for this song. I gotta start from scratch on this one.
Now, speaking of vibes, like, you were kind of writing this record while you were on tour with Alessia.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you go from, hitting a stage with an artist like Alessia to, getting back in the van that same day or that same night and focusing on music for you? That's two completely different genres. So, like, how do you not let her music or her sound kind of influence your stuff?
Well, I think the best part about touring with Alessia was that she's just the best human ever. And I was watching her kind of explode in front of my eyes. I was there from the very beginning, so it was just inspiring to see, and I really wanted to get there. So after stepping off stage with her, I was just really inspired to just get back and write and just to get myself in the same situations.
Right.
So I was inspired by the experiences, but I think I was still shaping my own sound and just writing every chance that I could, whether it be in hotel rooms or in the van.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so sick. So now that the record's done, so how soon can we expect this record, and what are the plans for 2019?
So we're releasing a single every month. We've put out one song so far called Burn It Down, and the next single comes out March 22nd called Rolling River. And then after that, we're just rolling them out. And also, we shot this thing called the Van Sessions, which I told you about a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
But basically, using the solar panels that I mounted on top of the van, we set up the studio rack gear using the solar power, and we filmed acoustic or stripped back versions of almost every song off the record.
Right.
So we're releasing the record, and with every song, we're releasing the Van Sessions. So
That's so sick.
the Van Sessions version.
That's so sick. Well, dude, I can't wait to hear the new record. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Thanks for this experience. I think you kind of like changed the way that I'm kind of imagining what my next living situation is going to look like. If you guys haven't checked him out yet, Craig Stickland is amazing. His new song is out now. It's called?
It will be out Rolling River March 22nd.
Thanks for watching on Front Row Live.